but I've got so much to share today. I might wait a couple of minutes and see if anyone else hops on, because as usual, typical of my style, this is impromptu once again. They usually are with me. I find it difficult to plan when I don't know what's going on with other people sometimes, if that makes sense. You know, like I might have to drop everything to help someone, that sort of thing. So while I'm waiting to see if anyone else pops on, I'm just pulling this fringe in apart. I don't know, see how it's sort of felted together? I don't know whether to separate them or leave them felted. I think I like them separated. And they should just pull apart like this. It's just mohair, so it's obviously whoever's owned this previously has given it a wash, and in doing so have felted it. But yes, I've got loads to show today. I'm actually, one of the main reasons I'm doing this today, this video, not because I've got the time. Oh no. Oh, see, that's the risk you take when you want to unfelt it. I'm trying to force myself to have a break. I haven't stopped for at least a week, and my body needs a break. I can't just say I'm not going to do anything, because, you know, there's stuff in front of me that needs done. The housework, the packing of the orders, the prepping more, you know, washing, ironing, starching, all that sort of stuff. So even though this does take a bit of brain power, like it can be exhausting doing the videos, the lives, because I've got to try and stay on task, and I've also got to be mindful of my swearing. I try very hard not to swear on here, but sometimes they'll slip out, and I apologise if that happens. Or maybe I shouldn't apologise, actually. I have a friend who keeps telling me that I shouldn't apologise for that. Anyway, I've got, as usual, I've got a gazillion things on the go. And so in between sorry, I was just distracted by a little native bee. They're in under the veranda. I've never seen that before. They're tiny. They're only, if you haven't seen them, they're not much bigger than the size of a little ant. And I've been incredibly excited because they've reappeared this year for the first time in years, after the eradication took place from the varroa mite, which was only present in European honeybees, I believe, but it also killed a lot of our native bees. And I don't know what they're at under the veranda, because there's no flowers there. They've been collecting pollen from the nasturtiums, I noticed a couple of days ago, but they're over here today. Anyway, I digress. I thought I'd just quickly show you some of the items that still haven't sold from the current drop. I'm going to close it off. Well, I was going to do it today. I might leave it another day or two, so if you haven't had a look yet, you can go and have a look. And over on my Destash page on Instagram, so there should be a link in my profile here on YouTube for that. So yeah, I thought I'd just quickly show you some of the things that are still available. Because when I close it off, when I close the sale off, I'll remove everything that's left, and sometimes those items will sell before, how can I explain? If they don't sell in this drop, I might bring them up again later, but if they sell elsewhere in between drops, they sell. So I just wanted to show you guys what I still have. This is a vintage supper cloth. Now, it looks like linen to me, but it feels a bit more like cotton. It's a bit of a trickster, this one. You can see the slub through it, or I can. It has a slub through it like linen. It has a lot of linen properties, but it might be too because I've got that many calluses on my fingers I can't feel properly. But this one is a lovely little mid-century applique supper cloth. Now this one has this is in one of these hand applique flowers is in each of the four corners. This orange Italian insertion stitch has been done by hand, and so has, I believe, this little orange running stitch all the way around here has all been done by hand. It's been hemmed by hand. Beautiful work, but to me the flowers are a bit rustic. And then there's these little tiny bits in between each of the four corners. Now, one of the things I love about this one, she does have some foxing or rust marks, I believe, here and there, just little ones. But this is my favourite bit. It's been repaired. Someone's loved this item enough to go in and repair it so they can keep using it. It's been done by machine, I believe. Hang on, let me put my glasses on. My poor clutch purse I finished a couple of weeks ago needs a wash again. It's filthy. I use it for everything. And just cleaning my glasses. This is my glasses currently. I stood on them and broke both the arms off. So that's not overly helpful. They're still filthy. So I can, there's something grubby on there that won't come off, and it really makes it a bit challenging to look through. Don't know what that is. Anyway, I am, for the most part, able to balance them on the end of my nose. Update. Commencement of, fire band, toe band, fire band season. Back to this. Yes, it looks like machine zigzag. But anyway, I won't linger on this too much longer. Mid-century supper cloth, still available. Then I've got this, another mid-century supper cloth. This one's gorgeous. I think it's Madeira. It's all hand embroidered again. But look at this embroidery and the cut work and look at the detail in this cut work, the loops. It's still all folded up, guys. I'm not going to try and unfold it here. So that's part of the centre display. And then these flowers are out in the corners. So these have all been drastically reduced over the last week to shift them. So if there's anything there you like or you've had your eyes on, this is a smaller little supper cloth. That last one may have been more of a tablecloth. It's a bit bigger. So again, another Madeira supper cloth. This is the corners, all hand stitched. Very pretty rose, that one. Wouldn't mind taking a pattern off that flower. I like that. Lovely blanket stitch. And look, the blanket stitch all the way around the edge has been done by hand as well. And then we've got this pretty cut work. So that has embroidery in the corners, each of the four corners, and then this is the centre. Again, I'm not showing you the whole piece, just a quarter of it. And these last two, I don't think they've been used. They don't have a mark or anything. I have washed them because they were dusty. So those two are still available. This one is gorgeous. They both are, both the last two. Look at the work in that. That's all that is all needle woven by hand. Isn't it insane? So anyway, there's another one that I've still got here. And this beautiful linen damask, another mid-century piece. Now I have shown this previously, but it had a big yellow stain on one side. And after I've given it a good soak, that's come out. I can't see any marks on it. It does have, where is it? In one of these corners, where's the other corners? 1, 2. I'm getting silk thread stuck on it. Okay, in one of these little corners, it looks like it's been cut on something. See those two little, and I think there was one stain. It says in the listing anyway. It's tiny, whatever it is, very tiny little one. But this mid-century tablecloth, it's very hard to see. Hang on, I'm just trying to straighten it up so I can fit it in the screen there. Oh, it smells really good after I've given it a good wash. Right, so it is difficult to see, but you can see the pattern in the border that's woven in, as a typical damask would be. And to me, when I first looked at this, I thought, oh, you know, we've got the little fisherman in his junk, Chinese junk, and we've got the little pagoda or whatever it is. But when you open it up and you can actually see the design in here, the self-patterning, it repeats that, but it's also got little swallows, the two little bluebirds. There's quite a bit more detailing in this, which is very difficult to pick up on camera. But when I saw those little bluebirds, I realised it's actually the willow pattern. Remember the willow, usually in blue and white? So that's what that one is. I've still got this exquisite tablecloth. It is a linen cotton blend, and it is 180 centimetres by 320. So 3.2 metres long, this giant one. Now, even if you didn't want to use it as a tablecloth, think of everything you could do with that beautiful fabric and this lace edge. Look at that. This is a woven lace edge. I just had to double take that then. Part of it looks a lot like filet lace done in crochet, but it's not. It's woven. I've tried to keep it stored in this bag. I actually have another one of these. I'm going to hang on to one, but I can't take them both with me when I move. So I've tried to keep this all wrapped up. Oh, it's very heavy. Look at that. It's exquisite, this piece. So still in its original packaging, the fabric is gorgeous. It's a heavier fabric than a lot I've seen previously. And it has those beautiful rose blooms woven into that lace. I'm just putting it back in the bag, guys, because knowing me, I will spill something on it. I can be a bit of a grub. A lot of a grub. But as I said, that one is still available. I'm surprised she hasn't sold. I've dropped the price from, I think it had 180 on it. It's all the way down to, I don't even think it's half that now. Okay, what else have I got that's still sitting there? This. That side's split open a bit. I've got this gorgeous, well, I think this would be great as a needlebook kit. Now, I've got this beautiful piece of vintage bark cloth in it, which is, I think, the very first piece of bark cloth I ever collected many, many, many years ago. There's little bits of gold detailing through it. It has, it's hard to see through there. It has these beautiful bonsai and Japanese maples and pagodas on it. It's very pretty. Very mid-century 50s fabric. And I've added vintage, these are feed sack Suffolk puffs. There's some green crochet that you could use as a page if you want to do a needle book. Of course, I've added the threads, matching threads, and this doily looks absolutely gorgeous with that fabric, that bark cloth. Now there's more fabric, there's vintage napkins, linen napkins, there's a bit of vintage reclaimed cross stitch, This piece here with this big flower, it's only a partial piece, but I'm pretty sure there's vintage wool in here that you could use for your needles, in your needle book. There's another doily. Yeah, so is it listed? It should be. If it's not, and it's something you think you might like, let me know and I'll sort that out. But I've been told that one of the reasons people are put off by this kit is because it looks too Christmassy. And yes, I agree. However, you need to remember that this is just a starting point, like a launch pad. So there's nothing stopping you from bringing in additional colours, okay? So that one's still there. That one's still available. I'm running out of places to stash this stuff. Okay, the next thing, this has been reduced dramatically as well, and is this Depression era milk jug cover. Now, I do have a small collection of these. I adore them. Normally I would keep this one for my own collection, but in typical Depression era style, they've used whatever they could find for the weights. So we've got a mixture of hand-blown vintage glass beads, shells that this person has obviously collected or been given, more of the vintage glass beads, and there's also some glass buttons thrown in here. So some milk glass. It's exquisite, and if it doesn't sell, I would be happy to hang on to it, but my perfectionist brain struggles with, I mean, if the shells and the beads were spaced out evenly, I could cope with it, but I struggle with them all being wonky. So that one's still there. I've also got, these are newly listed, another textile kit, potentially needlebook kit. Again, this is listed on my Instagram at the moment. I don't really want to pull it apart. I probably should, I suppose, and explain a couple of things. I don't want to. So, and I've run out of the cellophane bags I normally use to put these in. My supplier is waiting for his supplier to restock them, and it's taking a lot longer than we had hoped. So this piece of this reel, it's a vintage cotton reel. This is not the original cotton. This is vintage stranded cotton that was loose in a sewing basket. So I've wrapped it on this cotton reel, okay? Then we've got, I could work backwards, I suppose, a piece of vintage, beautiful vintage woven gingham that complements the fabric. A bit of reclaimed tablecloth. There's silk fluff on nearly everything. Bit of reclaimed tablecloth that you could utilise in the book if you wanted to. Then I've got a piece of vintage, just vintage blue cotton from I think that was from my Nana's stash, that one. A piece of vintage suiting, wool suiting that you could use for a page. A piece of beige, pale apricot, something like that. That needs the... Now, I've said before that some of these items end up with dog hair on them, and I've been assuming that all this time it was from Willow, despite my best effort to keep everything covered and in bags so there's much less risk of it being her hair. It dawned on me that this isn't actually her hair. Not only is it the wrong colour, it's the wrong length as well. So I'm now guessing that the hair that is on some of these is from someone else, a previous owner. But anyway, I try and remove it all as much as I can. So we've got another piece of vintage wool. This is wool blanket in this one, to add more of that bloody silk thread. Then I've got a piece of vintage floral. It's very pretty, this. I say vintage, I think it's about the 90s. It's a lovely piece of that. Then I've put in, this is from a lot of these are from my private stash that I was going to keep. This little doily just complemented it so well, so I've put that one in. And then this, now I often keep these. This one I'm going to put in, there's a bit of a mark there, but I like these as pages in the needle book. You can back them with a fabric if you wish, but yeah, I find those really good. Beautiful vintage sandwich tray cloths that you could use either as a page or as a pocket in your book, you know, chop it up, whatever your little heart desires. And then we've got, oh crikey, I knew I'd drop one. Then we've got all these little treasures, so I'll start here. So a piece of reclaimed hand stitched quilt, a bit of cutter quilt, and it's in I've got threads everywhere. So the background on this is more of a bluey, like a navy with a touch of green. These stripes I believe are black with these little flowers through them, and then this is navy background with these little red and green flowers. So that's what I've included that you could potentially use as your cover. Then we've also got, now I've got to keep these in here or they get all mixed up. Then we've got another thread, a piece of this beautiful vintage gimp, I suppose. It's very pretty in blues and browns, complements this very well. We've got the blues and browns in there and in the cover. Bit of that. Some beautiful hand crocheted medallions. This is a rescued piece. Now I hesitated about putting this in because there's a bit of a hole in that. But I figured either you can, I've just thrown it in as a freebie really. You can trim around it or you can cover it or add to it or whatever your little heart desires. And then this beautiful little crocheted medallion. Then I've added some hexagons. I probably should take the cardboard out of them, shouldn't I? They're just tacked in there. And a folded hexagon. So they're included. And then some, now these are not vintage, but they're made from vintage fabrics. So we've got 3 puffs, Suffolk puffs, and a bit of vintage rickrack, and some mercerised cotton thread, a little handmade label. This is not vintage, but I'd like to include them. They're cute if you're making something. A reclaimed embroidered flower. Now this has got my hair wrapped around it, crying out loud. This is a piece of navy bias binding that I've measured and given more than enough if you desire to bind all around the outside of that quilt cover. And then I've put together a card of vintage blue buttons. So they're all in that new, well, I only posted it yesterday or the day before, needlebook kit or textile kit, textile collage kit, whatever you'd like to call it. Don't forget to put that one back in. So that one is still available over at Instagram, my Instagram. There's another new one that I've only just posted. I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. Might have been yesterday. So this one's lovely. They're all lovely though, aren't they? Bit different, this one. Here's a beautiful piece of vintage wool suiting that I thought would be great for a page. There's a piece of reclaimed embroidered fabric. Now this is machine embroidered, but look at that. It's beautiful. Now, this is going to be a bit backwards, and you might wonder what on earth I'm including these bits for. A piece of vintage, it's a knitted fabric, a machine knitted fabric, but it's got this glitter through it. It reminds me of something my great aunt used to wear in the 70s, 60s and 70s. So I'm trying, when you see the fabric I've picked, this should make sense. A piece of vintage cotton, a piece of vintage Sheridan sheeting. This, what would that be? Chartreuse almost. That's a vintage fabric from my nan's stash, that one. More of my hair. A purple piece. Now, the reason I've added all those is because I'm basing it all off this vintage bark cloth that I thought would be great as a needlebook cover. So everything's based around this bark cloth. Here is a Madeira doily that you could use in it. A piece of, now I've already included this wool suiting at the back with the purple check on it that you could use for your needles, and I've also included a piece of wool blanket that you could use. Now I've also got, what else is in this one? A piece of reclaimed embroidered tablecloth, another piece of reclaimed embroidery, which I've actually used part of one of these on a project I'm working on. A little, very sheer little embroidered, I reckon this might have been a coaster, but it's very cute. Also this beautiful vintage little mat. Now this I believe is, again it looks like linen, this fabric bit. These are commercially woven bits of lace, but that's a lovely piece. I think would make a great pocket or a page in your needlebook. Some crochet medallions, and again I've tried to sort of coordinate it all. Some hexagons. Some gorgeous, now I'm finding it very difficult to part with these because I just adore them. Some 19 from, goodness, get your words together. Some vintage Suffolk puffs, feed sack once again. Now I'm getting a bit low on coordinating threads from my stash. I've also got this little reclaimed embroidered flower you could use in it. These aren't the greatest colours, the greatest match, but they still work. Now again, I'm only using what I've got on hand because I'm trying to destash. Now next we've got this gorgeous doily that I thought would go well with it. And I've also done another card of vintage buttons that can be used. So that is the second pack, and I don't think that, how did I fit that in that bag last time? So that one's only recently been listed as well, and again, as I said earlier, either tomorrow or Sunday, everything that hasn't sold will be getting taken down, because that's the best way so far I have found to keep it all in some kind of organised order, so I can keep track of it. And it's still not foolproof, but there you go. Now I've only got 3 of these vintage mystery packs left. I'm not going to pull these out because they are mystery packs. So we've still got pack number 1 available. Now all this stuff is what I would normally list it for, it's probably about 75% off. And I've thrown extra bits and pieces in as well. This is pack number 2, and again, it looks pretty ordinary from the outside, but I don't want to give too much away because they're mystery packs, you know. You'll see a little bit more on the listings on Instagram. And then this is number 5. There's quite a bit in here. This one's one of the bigger ones. So there you have it. I think that's, oh no, there's still more. Crikey. There's still more. Let me just make a bit of room here. So a few more other things that haven't sold yet in this latest drop. I just put all these packs away and they've slid off. No, they're not going to stay. I've just put them on a shelf under the bench, but they don't want to stay there. Okay, so what else hasn't sold? I've still got this teddy bear making kit, which is incredible. It's for a 51 centimetre tall teddy bear. Now this kit includes the pattern and instructions. There is some a beautiful large piece of faux fur. The colours are exquisite. It's like a roan or something. Very pretty. It also includes the joints, the washers, 2 German glass eyes. There's a bit of pearl thread to stitch in his nose. There's a piece of ribbon. Of course, you don't need to use that ribbon. I used to like to dress them. I used to crochet or knit little cardigans for them and scarves and things. So that one's still there. We haven't sold it yet. I've still got 2 of these little zippered pouch kits. I forgot to bring my pouch, well, the one I've got left, that I made out to show you, but I've already done all the hard work. I've already pieced all the hexagons together, stitched them all together, cut out the shape of the purse. I've added a lining fabric, a vintage zipper. There's the other side of the purse. So all you need to do is put the zipper in, put the lining in. I've also included a handmade with love tag you could put in it. And there is also in there somewhere, there is a zipper pull. Like a little ring pull you can put on the zipper, and I can't feel it. So it might have fallen out, I'll have to check that. Of course, we've got this colour as well. This one's a bit more Christmassy because it's got holly on it. There's one of the zipper pulls in that one. So again, I've added coordinating vintage fabric for the lining, vintage zipper. Now they're only 5-inch zippers. They're shorter than that length around there, and that's deliberate. The zipper's only supposed to, you know, get set in from there to there. So I've still got those. The hand-painted vintage linens I did, they went really well, but I've got 1 green left. And that has some reclaimed vintage linens, some doilies, some laces, napkin, a few bits in there. They're all priced differently depending on how much fabric's in each one. But yeah, all hand-painted. When I say hand-painted, they're not crunchy, it's not stiff, it's still lovely to sew through. I've still got this vintage ponytail doll available from the 50s. She's all in working order. I believe that's not her original clothing. Someone has made the crocheted dress and little panties for her. I've still got a handful of these postage stamp vintage fabrics left. Now, from memory, I think there's at least 50 pieces in each pack. I'm just checking. They're all vintage, I believe. They're all vintage. The newest is from the mid-90s and the rest are older than that. So again, just little vintage postage stamp fabrics, postage stamp size fabrics, great for pinch pots, great for textile collages, great for piecing together anything you wish, really. So I've still got a couple of those left. I've still got a few of the, I don't think these are currently listed actually, the yo-yos. So I've already pre-cut all the circles out of vintage fabrics for you to make yo-yos with. There's a few of those left, and there's just one of these remaining. Vintage linen, a nice large square piece. I think there's 4 of these roses printed on it, and I've included some thread cotton, DMC cotton for you to stitch it with, and a needle. Okay, so I will also, if you buy one of these, I'll also send you a copy of the instructions. I don't have a printer to print it out for you, but I can send you a copy. I would have added it to the kits if I could, but that was not an option this time. So now while I pack these bits away, out of the way, where did I put those? Oh, there's one. No, don't want that one yet. Okay. There's those 2 packs out of the way. Move that into the corner. And now, what am I up to? Let's get into some stitching. Well, that's good. That's hanging there. I'm sure you would have loved to be watching that. Now, get up there, you rotter. I'm in a really awkward position to film this. I say that all the time. One day I'll get a good setup. So, let's go back over here. Well, I've been waiting in appointments or meetings or things that I've been sitting around. I've been working on my needle books, and of course not just one at a time. No, that would be too easy. So this is one I've been working on recently. All the noise around here is driving me nuts. This is a piece of Tilda fabric that I fell in love with. I'd love to get hold of more of this actually. And I have, this is reclaimed embroidery from a tray cloth, and I've hand stitched it onto the front of this needle book. I've quilted the needle book, but instead of going acrossways, I've gone in like a trellis with this one. I've also tacked, I can't pronounce words, tacked in this lace, crocheted lace edge. Now I originally tacked a white one in. It was wider, but it just didn't work. It was too stark against the feel of the rest of it. So I've still got to come back and attach the lining in this and baste it all, trim it, and then do the blanket stitch all around it to hold it together. Now the plan is to have this as the lining, this beautiful fern textiles fabric in the back. It's a shame that I'm going to lose so much of it, to be honest. And then the plan was another reclaimed hand embroidered vintage tray cloth. Now the plan is by the time I put this book together, these will turn into big pockets. I can't remember why I've put this in there. I must have decided I might use it for something. A piece of vintage blue cotton. Not very very square. Anyway. And then I've still got to work out what I'm going to put inside it. And I do have some bits I've pulled here. Someone got into this when I was at training the other night and wanted to have a look at it, but they were very willy-nilly and just sort of grabbed at things which did my head in, and then just shoved it all back in the bag, and I felt like screaming, but I didn't. So that means I've got to, I'm glad that pen didn't leak in there. That would not have been very good, and I would not have been a very happy camper. Okay, there's several pens in there actually. They need to go in the pen bag, which for now can be this one. I need to wash this, it's grubby. Right, that's that sorted. Cottons. I don't know why all of these are in that bag. 1, 2. Was it that one I was going to use? Maybe. I'm just trying to think. I've picked up one to do the blanket stitch around it with. That's not that. That's another project I'm working on. I've just remembered. Look at this. It's too gorgeous to throw away, but I've only got this little bit. Okay, bit of lace. These are all bits and pieces that I thought might work in this needle book, see? If these bits go in, I think I'll tea dye them. They're too stark. Is that the zipper I wanted for that bag? That's interesting, an interesting colour. See, I change my mind as I go. This is what happens. As I start working on a piece, it sort of sometimes tells me what it wants to do instead of what I think it needs. I forgot to mention, with this crocheted lace that I'm inserting, now I've done all this one backwards and I don't know if it will work because I normally baste the front and the back together and then stitch in the lace, but because whoever had reclaimed this bit was given to me a couple of years ago, in some spots they've cut it all the way up to the edge where those eyelets are. So I've had to try and gently tape it all in. Shush, please. Don't yell. Don't yell. That's enough. Do you want me to get your collar out? You have to stop yelling at people, dude. That's enough, please. That's enough. Willow, please stop yelling. Go and lay down on your bed, quick. On your bed, please. Willow, mate, I know you're being protective, but you need to stop yelling, please. Willow, please, it's hurting my ears. It's enough. This fellow pulled up out the front to go to the house across the road, and she doesn't like that, obviously. So now I forget where I was up to, crying out loud. Yeah, so with the lace, so I've tried to actually, when I say tack it in, it's more of a stitched in really, to try and make sure that stays in by the time I put in the lining and the blanket stitch. Here's some more reclaimed linen I was using. This one just disintegrated, So I'll utilise some of that if I can. I do have some of that in the other one I'm working on, I believe. There's another bit of that fabric that I was actually going to use this on the back of that. Where is it? Goodness gracious. Oh, that's that. Okay. Where's the rest of that gone? Bear with me again, guys. I apologise. I'm dropping things left, right and centre. Another bit of reclaimed linen I've been using. Obviously that's the same as the bit on the front. Now let's get this happening. So what have I done with that other one? Now interestingly, all these bits were clean before I started using them. I'm very careful when I'm stitching, and I keep it all in a plastic bag in between stitching times so I don't get anything dirty. And yet I'm just looking at this piece of wool blanketing I've got in front of me, and it's got something grubby on it. I'm just pulling it off. So it won't go in that order. However, these are some things I've pulled. I don't know if they're definitely going to go into this or not, but these are some that I've been auditioning. I've got, and again, bits of blinking fluff and things on here that shouldn't be on here. Oh my stars. If I don't do this now, I know it's incredibly boring for you guys, I apologise. If I don't do it now, when I do go back to do it, I won't be able to see it. Another part of the problem is, inside the lighting is so bad that I can't see a lot of this, and I actually don't see the colours true either inside. Now, I've got this piece of wool felt, but if I'm going to have, I don't know yet, blue, pink, should I then go blue again? Blue. Look at all these threads. We'll ignore this bit for now because I'm not sure what I was planning on doing with that. It needs to be shortened a bit, I think. Length, widthways. Blue. Then we can do something like, I don't want two bits of wool together. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't pulled much else for this one. So we can go maybe a doily as a page. And then, I don't know what I can put on that side. Bit of fabric maybe? I bet I didn't bring those fabrics out. I didn't. I thought about it. I did. Thank you. And of course I don't have the bits out here that I've already cut up, do I? What's that one? I'm looking for something with a vintage vibe. I actually like this one. I don't want to undo this because I've already got some cut up. See this one here? But we're back to blue again. I don't necessarily want blue against blue. No particular reason. I just don't want to have blue against blue if I don't have to. What can I put there? I don't know. How about we leave that side for now? We can do something like, and again, as I keep saying, this is just a rough audition. It will probably change significantly by the time I come to put it all together. Now I've also got, now this doily matches what I've stitched on the cover. We can have, oh, there's a bit of that. Oh, this is much bigger than I thought it was. That actually comes, how has she done that? What on earth have I done? Yeah, that must have gone there. No, that still doesn't work. Why doesn't that work? What on earth is going on here? Okay, that might be better. There we go. It's a bit better. It's still not right. I still haven't... Why? How come when you unfold something, you can never get it to go back to how it was? It has to go like that. And the reason I'm fussing over this so much is because if I don't put it away now, it'll get all tangled up. How on earth has she done that? Oh man alive, I can't work it out. Maybe that was the one. That doesn't work either. This is very frustrating. No, still haven't worked it out. How? Anyway, crying out loud. I got this, I should put that pack and photograph it actually. Got this from Nairi through the week. I don't know whether to include this one in this one. It's a napkin, so it will probably be, if I use it, it will go in as a double-sided page, I think. I've also got this damask that I'd like to try and get in here somehow. Isn't that gorgeous? That looks like the back of it. No? So I've got that damask. I've also got, I was thinking of putting these puffs in. And that's pretty much all I've pulled for this one so far. I'm not entirely convinced this is how I want it yet though. Got another bit of that fabric. I've got a bigger bit here, not much bigger, but I'll show you what I'm hoping to do with that. So that's where I'm up to with that one. Very frustrating at the moment. And we've got the flowers on the front there, and I've also done a small one on the back as well. And I'll put some inside it to tie it all together, I think. Okay, now I'm going to put that back in its sleeve for now, so it doesn't get dirty and I don't lose any bits. Back in its sleeve, these go in there. Those bits will go in there for now. Possibly that one. Right. That's where I'm at with that one. Then I've got, oh, that needs to go in that bag. Then I've got that one. Oh, that one's over there. Okay, where's the other one then? I was organised, guys. Honest, I was. But I've got that much stuff out here, I'm struggling to keep track of what's where and what's what. Now I want to show you there goes my glasses. You can't look down when you're balancing those on your nose. You can't itch your nose, you can't smile, or they just fall off. Okay, not in that bag, so I can put that one aside. Well, this is a bit frustrating. Now I can't find the other bit I wanted to show you. Is it in there? Must be in here. I thought I saw it somewhere else. Let's have a look. Of course it's stuck in the bag. There's another one there. Well, how about that? Oh, I'm sorry this is so boring, guys. I can't get the bag open now. Right. So, the piece I've been working on, if you remember, I've been working on this big cutter piece. Now, oh, sorry guys, I didn't mean to whack you there then. More bits I've pulled to audition. Now again, this is one I've been working on from I bought from Beck a while ago from Sobe, this piece of cutter quilt. As you can see, I have already inserted the lace, the crocheted lace that was recovered from another doily, a table mat, and I've blanket stitched around it. The cutter quilt, sorry, let's get this a bit more clarified. To keep it all together and neat and in one piece, I have sandwiched the lace between the cutter quilt and the lining, and then blanket stitched it all together to hold it all in place. I haven't taken the basting out yet. You can see there's lots of threads on here. I will leave that until I put it all together, until I put the spine in and whatnot. So this is the inside of this one, and you would have seen this before because I've been working on it for a while. This is pockets on the inside from some vintage lace. I've got a piece of vintage wool suiting, and I'm not convinced yet this is going to stay because it's more of a turquoise, I suppose, than a blue. So yeah, not sure yet. Not that it has to be all blue, but I'm sort of trying to work with these colours, see? And blue seems to be the predominant colour. Just tore a little fingernail, which will catch on everything. Now this piece of lace, I had fussy cut around each of the flowers, but they hung out too much over the edge and I didn't like it. So I've trimmed that back. I want to have a piece of that in there. I've got a piece of cream wool that we can use now, and that's got fluff and things all over it. Now this piece, well, probably any of the wool, I will most likely applique something onto it. I don't know what yet. I've got this piece of vintage linen, Sanderson linen, which looks good against the cream. I think I would back it with something though. I'm not sure yet. I don't like seeing the backs of things in my work. Maybe that's something I need to learn to appreciate. And I do love the look of it, but breaks my brain a bit that it's exposed. It's the back of it, and it's not, feels incomplete, I suppose. Then I've got this beautiful blue, oh Jesus, wool felt. I think this one and the pink one, a couple of others came from Thorpe's. Then I've got this, I've been auditioning this linen napkin. I'm not sure if it will stay, but if it does, I will turn it into a pocket. And then of course, these, this placemat, well this one's a napkin. I'm going to have to put sort of, I don't know what you call it, darts I suppose. So, because I don't want them sticking out the edge of the needle book out here when it's closed. So I can either use one of these napkins, or I've also got another one of the placemats here, which I could utilise. I know that's a placemat too, that one I've already got in there. So the reason I'm leaning towards these is because this is what I've lined it with, a napkin, and then this matching placemat. So if it goes in, I did want it, you know, the same length this way, but it's too long to keep it as a whole, okay? So I thought I'll just fold the bottom up a bit and make a little pocket to get it at the desired length. Well, that doesn't work either, because if I fold it up to the correct length, the pocket is pretty much non-existent. It's only about 1 inch wide, and then we cut off this feature here. So if I go up to the point where I can still see the feature, it's a bit short, but that's okay, because that's what these needle books are all about. I keep trying to tell myself. But to do this to fit in here, I would then be putting like a dart, and that would come out. What else have I got to put in there? I got this out to show you the zippered pouch that I'm working on to go in this, and I can't find where I put it. So I'd set something else in here, so that would still open up as a book page, but then this tab, instead of cutting it off, I can attach something else to it. So some yo-yos, or that purse that that I wanted to put in here, that I don't know where I've put it. Is it in this bag? Maybe it's in this one. No, that's part of that one. Not in that one. Well, that is very frustrating, isn't it? Where did I put those blinking? I'm so disorganised, unorganised. So you can't even use proper English. It's not in that bag, so we can put that one aside. I haven't been all the way through this one yet. There go the glasses again. Sure, I don't need 2 rulers out here. It's got to be in here because I can't see it anywhere else. Bear with me again. I apologise. Guess what? This is looking promising. Everything's going to fall down though. Oh, there it goes. Everything just fell down. A lot of snot. Okay, back to where we were. You would not believe the amount of piles I've got here around me and on my knees. I think I found it. Here we go. So now we might be able to make a bit of sense of this. So this will eventually be a zippered pouch to put in here. I've done all that work on it. I'm going to insert I think I'm going to go neon pink zipper in this one. I can go pink or yellow, or I think I want pink. On the opposite side of this zippered pouch, I think I will put, I keep changing my mind, I was going to put one of these, but I think I will put some of this Tilda instead. So just pretending it's been constructed in a zippered pouch, and then that I think will be the back side. My hair is everywhere. And I've also still got a piece of, I don't know if you can see, they get lost in this a bit. There's a pair of little bluebirds here on a branch, on a cherry blossom. And then there's the cherries and the blossoms. I've got the opposite one that I was going to put on something. So maybe I could stitch them on something. Or that direction didn't feel good to me. See, there's a feature on that already on that side. But I feel like they need to go on like that. But that doesn't mean they can't still go in here, somewhere else. You know, maybe I could go on there. Don't know yet. So that's where I'm up to with that one. And I don't know how many times I've shown you guys the auditions for this. I keep changing my mind. I've trimmed this down much smaller than I had originally intended as well. And I thought this one might go in this, but it doesn't look right now for this. Look at that. All hand embroidered. Look how tiny these stitches are down here. Absolutely stunning. So that is also a possibility for this one. I've actually got a huge amount of linen I've pulled for this one, including, well, we've got this bit. There's another lace. Got this, which could be used in it somehow. I'm just wondering if I've pulled some of these for one of the others, because there's a lot here. This one. Some animal just fell over, I don't know what, because I've only got the dog, something out around the side there. Oh, it's birds in the bucket of water. Got this one that could go in here. Another one of these. So that was in the other one, wasn't it? Yeah, that's in the other one. So I think I've pulled some of these for that other needle book as well. This one I've had for a while, but I thought it would make a great little pocket in one of these. I could stitch that on. That's an option. And then I've got this. See, this would work in this one. Or the other one. I think this one keeps going more towards pink and blue again. But I think I need to try and utilise more of this green and these orangey yellows in this one. So I won't put that in there, but that sort of has some orange in it and the green. So that one could potentially stay. This one I'm not sure about. It just doesn't work for me right now. Okay. This one can stay in here for now. This one I've pulled for the other one I showed you. So that needs to go back with that one. Same with the neck. These must be all for that last one I showed you that I've appliqued the flowers to. So this is an option for that one. I guess this could even go. But see, I keep leaning more towards the blue and pink again, which I don't want to do. Too much blue in that one. Again, beautiful linen fingertip towel. I'll put that in with the fingertip towels. And another one. So I was auditioning these to go in one of these books too. This cute little one, it has the oranges and the greens, but we've got the pink and blue again. But it's not unreasonable to think I might be able to use that one. This would have had a crocheted edge, but it came to me like this. Again, that could be a pocket, or I could pat it a bit and turn it into a pin cushion. I don't know if I'd want to though, because that cotton would wear through quite quickly. Another bit of lace. Okay, see another pink and blue. Again, I think these would go in the other one. This one's gorgeous. These I definitely pulled for the other one. Look at that. And I'm not saying these are all going to go in, but I have been auditioning these ones. This one's gorgeous too. Very fine, that one. And another, look at that. Gorgeous. As well as this sandwich tray cloth. Now that one, yeah, no, too, not the right colours for this one. I've also got, didn't realise I'd pulled so many. This one I definitely pulled for that other one that I'd appliqued the flowers on. And then look at the crocheted lace around this one. That one could potentially go in this one, maybe. And then a little sandwich tray cloth. Oh, lots in the same colourway, isn't there? I wouldn't mind utilising this piece of lace in one of them, which is gorgeous. I'm still going on what I've auditioned for. That's the other half of that bit I've done as the lining in this one. I'm just having a drink of my coffee, guys. I apologise too if you've been commenting. I can't see the screen again. Okay. We could potentially put some puffs in here. I've also been doing, everything's screwed up of course. It was all nice and neatly pressed. Okay, some more puffs. I think I need to put these all back in my puff jar so I don't lose them. I took them out over the last few days while I've been auditioning. Okay, more thread. I've got threads coming out of my ears at the moment in these bags. Okay, that one. There's another puff. Oh, look at that one. Oh. Now some of these are from Beck and some are from Nairi, but they're all absolutely gorgeous. Okie dokie. Got some, again, looking at these colours, I think I've pulled all these for the other needle book. Got some hexagons. Now, the other thing I have that could potentially go in here, but again, I'm still leaning towards those little 9 patch. Could go in here. But this one's pinks. and then another. So that's all I've got at the moment in those. I think I need to sort out all this stuff again. I didn't realise I was auditioning so much. Now this one could go in. Again, it's pink, so we don't want more pink in this one, or blue, if necessary. Now this one I was thinking, I had listed this one a couple of times and it didn't budge. But as I was looking at it through the monitor the other day, I noticed, can you see this oval shape down here? I was thinking I could cut this out and needle turn this edge and use that as a frame to embroider, I don't know, initials or a posy of flowers or something. So I've ended up hanging on to that one. Got big plans for that one. Where can I put? How did that come out of there? That's bizarre. I've got this gorgeous trim that I got from a friend recently, and I've got the same or similar in a pale blue as well. So I thought I might utilise that in one of these, or some of that. I wish I had a bit more determination, I guess, in what I'm thinking here. Some more bits of vintage lace. Look at this one. Most of these, the ones that I keep thinking, oh, that's great, I'll use that, they tend to be collars. But look at that. Isn't that exquisite? And this is a collar that someone's rescued from something, so. And again, the things, what I decide upon to put into these will also be determined by whether I want to keep it or sell it. And at this stage I haven't decided, because I've really fallen in love with these pieces, and I think I'm improving with each one I do. I'm beginning to like my style a lot better. So the more I do as I go along, the more I'm wanting to keep, which can potentially become a bit problematic. So there's that one for now. I need to just get my act together and get them done, I think. I'll put those back in there so I don't lose them. I'm just putting the puffs back in the bag with that book, that needle book, so I can sort of keep it all together. Right, so that is those two needle books so far. But I've also got another pile of bits I've pulled for those two needle books. And I'm really struggling with which bits. A lot of them I don't want to cut up. That's a little package I got from Nairi the other day that I haven't yet shared. Okay, so next up I've got a piece of this reclaimed table rug, and I thought it might be good to use in one, but it's a big piece. These little forget-me-nots are exquisite, so that's an option. This is more, I don't think this one's suitable for either of these. We've had some colour run on it, unfortunately, but potentially I could use, what colour base is that first one? It's going to be blues and pinks, isn't it? And I've got some reclaimed bits here that I could put in. These bits are gorgeous. That one. Here's another bit of that I shared earlier. These bits are exquisite. Look at this bit. Look at that. So I'd like to get that in one of them, I think. more of these. And I even keep these little bits because I have used these previously. So this, for example, I could attach that to another bit of fabric, like, because I don't have a piece right in front of me. So potentially I could attach that. Imagine it's folded over and pressed and hemmed and done all nice and neatly. I could potentially stitch that along there and make a pocket with it. So I always keep these little bits. You never know when you might be able to utilise them. Here's another in the pink. Here's another reclaimed bit I've been using. I used in the... I must have used it on the bit for the zippered pouch, I think. Look at that. The holly, I have used a bit of that. I've used a small, that size on the zippered pouch. I've also got this reclaimed piece that I could use. This sweet little napkin that's got a stain on it. I need to soak that one again. This sweet little pocket. Now that could go in this one. That would potentially work in this one, wouldn't it? Because then I'm bringing in some more of that yellow. So I'll put that aside for that one. And this as well, look. Yellows, oranges, blues. That little sandwich tray cloth should work in that one as well. Well, now we're up into business. Another sandwich tray cloth that should work in it. Of course, I'm not going to use all these bits, but they're bits that I've been auditioning. This bit could work. This bit is stunning, and I don't know if I can come at chopping this one. Look at that. Now that would work well in that one. This one's the same. This is the next couple are exquisite, but look at that. That would work in it. And this next one would work in it. This is a piece of reclaimed embroidery from Nairi. Look at that, how fine it is. Now that would potentially work in this book, in the Cutter Quilt book. This hanky, now I have pressed this, but obviously it's been, look at this handkerchief. That would be good in one of them, wouldn't it? Maybe the blue and pink one. And this handkerchief, this is exquisite. Look at that. I've got this little, this was going to go in the Cutter Quilt one, but I'm not sure yet. It's a little compact case, little vintage compact case that someone's made. I got this one from my cousin. But imagine that as a pocket in one of the books. I've also got this vintage patch. I'm not sure what to do with it yet. And this is another sandwich tray cloth. I think this one came in a kit from Beck, this one. This one came, I believe, I'll have to go back and check, with the Cutter Quilt kit. The blue and orange and green, yellow, green one that I showed you not like long back. My words are not working again. So that one would work in that one. And this, I think this came from Beck too. We're going to have to double check this one. Look at that. Now that could go in that Cutter Quilt one. Same with this piece. This is beautiful. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. So many choices. Another one that can go in the other pile. So that's where I'm up to with those. Those ones could go in with this one for now. And again, this is not what I was planning to do a video of. I am going to do some stitching shortly, I hope. And I never plan on these videos going for as long as they do, but here we are. Right, so that's that one. I'm just going to put these other bits to audition in this other one. Scrunch them all up accidentally, which is not what I wanted. Oops-a-daisy, all scrunched up. That's a bit frustrating. Okay, in the bag they go. Can't see the bag now. Right, so that is, have a bit more direction with those two now. I don't know about you guys, but I can spend, I think I've spoken about this before, I can spend hours, days, weeks, months sometimes even, procrastinating over what I'm going to put with which book. But then, usually, all of a sudden, for no apparent reason at all, it just all comes to me and all falls together. Don't know why, that's just how my process seems to go. And now I'm just packing away some of this other stuff off the counter here, off the table, so I can get to the sewing bit. Just putting these laces away. That one should go in with that actually. Okay, I've just stuck those in there for now. There goes the glasses again. Do not recommend broken glasses. Okay, what was I doing with all these bits? Oh, they're all the cutter bits. Okay. Put those away for now too, okay? Put that one away. Put this away. Again, guys, just making some room here. I don't know if I showed you this piece recently. Little hand-knitted baby bonnet and matching booties. It's got this beautiful silk ribbon. Look at the flowers made here out of the silk ribbon. Tiny little bullion roses on them. Now this has a note with it that says, "Some of Grace's knitting. Glen Grace was blind." So I've kept that, and I'm wondering whether I could somehow put it in one of the needle books as a feature. I do have I've only kept one, a vintage baby's dress. It's only from the 70s, it's not massively vintage. That I wanted to do a stitchery project on or with. Okay, now I've got, the worst part about this is I drag all these things out in here to do these videos, and then when it's time to go inside I've got to drag it all back in again. Goodness me, that hit the spot. Okay, now I'm just, they're not the right colours. What did I get? Oh, I remember what I got these out for. We might need these shortly. That's something I wanted to show you. Okay, I'm just going to set these off to the side. I might need that. I'll most likely need that. Oh, goodness me, what else have I got in there? More blinking. I just found more. More bits I must have been auditioning. Oh man alive. This is a bit ridiculous. I've got both hands full and I'm trying to... Hang on, let me try and get... There's my packet of pickle chips I was looking for. That's a bit funny. Okay. More little... Okay, thank you for being so patient with me while and as I mentioned, I did have this all sorted, but as I start going through it, I've got it all in a big muddle again. That's something else I wanted to show you. So this fabric, remember I said back in that last book I wanted to back the Sanderson with something to tie it in. I'm thinking maybe this one, maybe. Or another piece of wool. This one, but this is exquisite too. That's another one of those fern textile ones. I want to get more of that too. I've got this tiny bit of Hello Kitty Liberty that I want to feature somewhere. There's that other in the fern in the pink. So I've got those there. This needs to go. I started to prepare this to needle turn it, and then I didn't like it, so I've ended up just satin stitching around it to hold it all together. Bits of lace. Okay, these are other bits that I was auditioning for that. I don't think this will go in because I'll lose too much of the effect. This beautiful big basket of pansies. This one could work though. That one could potentially go in. I think these are bits I pulled for the blue and pink one, which is the one with the tilde cover. Bit of vintage cotton that I thought would be good in that. And then I've got these. These will probably go back in the box for now because I keep changing my mind. These little sandwich tray cloths could potentially go in. Another tray cloth that I thought might work in one of them. The blue one, most likely. That's some of that vintage linen and another piece of wool blanketing. Right, so now that's sorted. Hopefully I'm getting closer to the let's get started with the stitching. I keep finding bits that shouldn't be where they are. Move that out of the way. This needlebook, I've come to a grinding halt with this one. I know a lot of you are waiting for me to finish this guy. I have done a little bit more work on it, but I'm still trying to work it all out. I don't know why I'm finding this one so difficult to do. So this is the vintage kimono from Beck at So Be. This piece of kimono that I received in the kit actually had been cut. So there's a cut down here. So I'm trying to work out how I can repair that. Do I just do like a darning, or do I wrap another piece of fabric around it and stitch that on? I'm not sure yet. Lined with silk, the original lining, but I did part it out and fixed it neatly, and this hem I opened up so we can see this selvage bit of linen for the next page. I originally had, I think I've already gone through this with you guys, I originally did this like that so that leaf would stick out, but when I close the book I don't like how it looks, so I think I'm going to stitch this down. I'll stitch it onto there, wrap it around that edge and make a feature out of that onto that piece of wool felt. Then I've got this beautiful crocheted bit next. Then I've got all these other bits to try and fit in, and of course I know I don't have to fit them all in, but most of these came with the kit. So think. Potentially this bit of doctor's flannel can go next. And I will do either, this is really annoying me, I will do either blanket stitch around this or a bias binding. So that could be potentially next. And then I've got, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. This piece came in the kit, but I think, oh, I was going to use that, I think. I want to line it. I'm not sure if this will work. So potentially that could go there. Then I've still got quite a bit of this silk. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. But then I could put, do I want that bit next? It doesn't work right. It doesn't feel right, that one. I need something plainer against that, I think. The problem is this isn't working. This bit here is not working for me, I don't think. This piece of silk. Then potentially we could go this, no, then there's more bits left. I wonder if this will work. Not fussed on that either. Let's just have a look, shall we? Again, I think I'd like to line that. And this one could potentially go in here. I've got no idea how much I've procrastinated with this one. Okay, let's see how this goes. It's very chunky. So imagining that I've actually gotten that all to fit in there neatly, this is what it might look like. Let's open her up, page 1. Page 2. See here, I've put the doctor's flannel behind this. I want that to pop, so I'm better with it with this colour, I think. But I don't want those in that order. Let's just continue seeing how we go. We've got that one, the doctor's flannel. We've got this piece, and I don't like those two next to each other either. That works though. I like that against that. I need to back, I feel like I need to back something. Back that with something. This one. And then I'm not sure I like those two against each other. And then this could be the centre. What if I go that way? Didn't think of that. Yeah, no, don't like that either. At the moment, I'm just stumped on this one. I just can't get it to come together. Next page. Next one. I think this fabric's what's throwing me. I just can't get it to work in this book. It came with the kit, see, so that's why I'm thinking like I need to put it in there. But it might yet come out. I think that might be my problem, that fabric. I think it's what's causing me the grief. So I'll sit on that again and see what happens. That is frustrating. Where'd the rest of those go? Down there somewhere. Okay, we'll come back to that one again later. I've lost count of how many times I've said that with that piece. Now I want to get on to the sewing that I was hoping to get done. So I've started a third needle book. Oh, probably more than three actually. Third that I've got out here anyway. And again, what I've got in here, I don't know if it's going to stay. I'm auditioning. I'm still working at it. I'm just straightening this up, guys, so you can get a better idea of where my head's at. I don't tend to have a lot of, I suppose, earthy colours. That's probably the best way to describe them because they're not my favourite colours. I don't like browns, I don't like oranges, I don't like yellows. But in saying that, this next piece has all those colours. So what I'm thinking here, again, don't know if this will work, don't know if it's going to stay like this, but okay, this is one another piece of Tilda I've been stitching, and I wish you could feel the texture of this. I probably should show you so it makes more sense. I just saw that. Where did I see it? I just had a great big needle. Here it is. Just plop it on the table. Just, no care given. Just don't pay attention at all. Then I can't find it. So where are we? There's the needle there. I want that's not it. Don't tell me I've left it behind. No. Is that it? That doesn't feel like it either. Far out, Brussels sprout. I want the cotton I've been doing this with. I don't think that's it. When I've been using this one's too mercerised, a crochet cotton. It's too tightly wound for what I want to do. I'm just moving these out of the way while we're here. I wonder if it's in there, in that bag. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, see. Crying out loud. I'm sure I picked it up. It's not there. Not there. Not there. Did I put it in? I'm sure I had picked it up. I'm sure I'd lose my head if it wasn't screwed on. Is it in this bag? Ah, guess what? I found it. I found one the same at least. Okay. I don't think it's the exact one, but it's the same. So I finally found one. It's a lot softer, different colour. Okay, I'll put this one back in this bag. Now, what I don't do traditional running stitch, I guess you'd call it, like a canter style stitch. I'm not calling it canter stitch because it's technically, canter stitch is more of a lifestyle than a technique, if that makes sense. Born out of necessity rather than creativity. So, thread my needle, and again, I'm doing a lot of things that I've been taught not to do, and I'm trying to be less rigid with them. Because I was in the Embroiderers Guild for many years, I've got it stuck in my head that I have to do things a certain way. But I don't, and you don't either. That little pink flower is very cute. I need to use that somewhere. So, I'll show you how I do my stitching. I try to avoid knots. There is one there, and I'm kicking myself now. I forgot when I started that I don't like to use knots. I will come in. Oh man alive, I just knocked off the hexagon. So I'm going to start stitching down this line here. So I come in about where that line is with my needle, and I'm running it in the wadding, but I don't want you to see it, and I don't really want it between the fabric and the wadding. I want to try and run it in the wadding, through the wadding, the pellin. So just suck that tail in, don't suck it all the way through, and guess what? This thread's a completely different colour to what I'm using, so I can't use this one. Let's have a look what else is in here. This one might work. There is another one in here that might work, I think. It's not as mercerised. It looks more like that colour. Let's try again. I need to make myself some more pin cushions, I think. I made a whole heap of those finger ones years ago, and I've given most of them away except for one, and I was using that one yesterday, but I forgot I had it on, and I went to wash the dishes, and as you can imagine, it got sopping wet. So this is a brand new ball because I just had to start it there. An anchor pearl. That's a much better match to that. Didn't want to have to start a new ball, but I can't find the one I was using. So getting back to doing things I've been taught not to do, shouldn't have your thread this long because it fatigues, it wears, and that's when you get breakages and knots and things like that. But because I've been stitching for so long, I can usually handle a long thread now. Not always. I will still get knots and I will still get tangles, but for the most part I'm able to avoid them or undo them effectively. So let's try this again. I want to start stitching on this next line here. So I come in with my needle and thread and go towards the center of the work, and I'm trying to thread that through the wadding, not between the fabric, not on the other side of the fabric. I want to thread that into the wadding, and we don't want to pull it all the way through. Then I'm coming back up and I'm leaving a gap. I'm not going back in exactly where I came out. I'm leaving a couple of mil, and I'm trying to run that needle back where it came in, and if you can get it through the center of that thread, even better, or through that thread a bit to bite into it. So there's our anchor in to start stitching without using any knots. Now, this tail is very long. Now I want to come up from the back and start my first stitch and gently pull it through. We don't want to pull it out, we don't want it tight. Now this is where I do it differently. Most people will do I'll come to that later because I don't want it on the front of this one. I go in, I do more of a stab stitch in, pull my thread through, and then up. Now there is a method to my madness. In, and I'd encourage you to give this a go next time you're doing this so you can see the difference. This is a lot more time consuming than a regular running stitch or a shishiko like stitch. Doing it like this makes that thread sit quite proud on top of that fabric. So when I run, it's very, very tactile. It's all lumpy and bumpy, and I love that. So that's how I like to do it. When I get onto the back, I'll show you the difference. But this is something that you'll have to try for yourself to understand what I mean, because it won't actually show up on the monitor. So I like this. As I said, see, now I've got a knot there. Instead of pulling at it, picking at it, all I've got to do is gently, sometimes we can just stick our needle through the loop and pull on it. It's usually just an overhand knot. So if you pull against it, it'll usually just pop out again. Not always. Got a very dry throat and I'm very thirsty again. See, that'll knot it up then because my thread's too long. What happens at the end here with the tail, as the tail starts to fray, it gets stuck as well. So that is now stuck in between. This is a different story. That tail has wrapped around that leader. So we do need to unwrap the tail. And if that becomes too impossible, too difficult, because I can't see without my glasses on. Oh, I just got it. There you go. Okay, stitching, and yeah, as I mentioned, this is very time consuming doing it this way, but I much prefer the finish, one other thing I was a bit hesitant with doing this one like this is I didn't want to lose that beautiful print, but I think it should be okay. I think we're still going to see it, and I will try and repeat it inside the book as well. This is difficult stitching this so far away. Goodness, why am I singing a Joni Mitchell song? Is it Joni Mitchell? Don't know. It just popped into my head when I said far away. I only discovered recently, like within the last week or so, that not everyone has thoughts running through their head constantly. I just thought that was normal. My brain doesn't ever switch off, I don't think. I have taught it to. I can force it to switch off. But it just doesn't stop on its own accord. Nice big knot here. Again, because this thread is too long to be working with. Once I get to this halfway mark, I will show you. Sorry, I've just pulled this in closer to me, guys, so I can get it. Get it done. Well, we're going to be here forever. I should have had it prepped. I wasn't actually planning on showing you this, but the next stage I want to show you sort of counts on this bit. Still not halfway, but you don't want to be sitting there looking at nothing, do you? I'm struggling to keep these straight, even with the lines in there. It's harder also, doing it this way, it's harder to keep the stitches consistent lengths and distances apart. It is a little bit easier when you're doing the running stitch. Oh, that might do for now. We're not halfway, but it must be getting very boring. Now, as I mentioned earlier, yes, this is very time consuming and laborious, but I much prefer the texture when I do it like this, when the thread's sitting on top of the fabric, as opposed to if I were to do running stitch like this. I need to put my glasses back on. If I was to do it this way, load my needle up, and pull it through, those stitches will actually sit flat in the fabric, and I can't really feel them. Oh, you sort of can, but they don't sit proud like these ones do. So they sort of just sit nice and neatly in with the fabric. The other reason I don't like doing it like this is because if the more I continue, that fabric tends to start to pucker a little bit, and I don't like that. I mean, it's okay in some instances, it has its place, but I don't necessarily like it on these. I think it's done it on my silk one. I must have done a running stitch on it, which I think is alright, because that was actually a textured fabric to start with. Got another knot. That's that tail again. So that's the difference. I don't like the thread sitting. You might like it sitting flush so you can't feel it, but I don't like it like that. So what I'm next doing with this one, I decided, I had a brainwave last night, that I might like to attach some flowers to it. So I've started making some, and I'm thinking I might like this one as the focal point. I've also got, this one's big though. I think it's too big. So my idea was to have this one as the focal point and then do a couple of smaller ones either side and some leaves. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I used to do these three-dimensional flowers years ago in some quilting I was doing. I haven't done them for a long time. I'm happy that this hand-dyed fabric sort of matches these roses. Not a bad match, and it also has this mustard undertone in it. So that was a bit of quite a fluke, honestly. Do I want to put some... You can't really see that, can you, through there? Do I want to put some lace peeking out behind it? That's too big, that one. But I want some blue. That's not a bad blue. It's not exactly the right colour, but that's not a bad blue for that. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to do the blue. This is going to be a bit of a auditioning game. So I don't know whether I want to do... I could just do Suffolk Puffs for flowers, for the blue flowers. Or I could do little... I don't think I want to do pansies because the scale I'll need to do them is going to be very small and fiddly. So I'm just looking for something round that might give me the right size if I was to do a puff. I can. They're going to be a bit small, aren't they? Let's have a look. I need a... And again, I don't know if this will work. I might get these all made and audition them to stick on there and think, oh, yuck, I don't like that. I don't know yet. So let's see how we go here. Oh, of course that pen's empty. That would be too easy, wouldn't it? Let's get a new ink out. Don't fall off, you rotters. I'm losing my glasses again. Okay, this one will do. So I seem to have gone through the black a bit. Talking to myself again. I'm just changing out the nib on this pen so it actually writes for me. Again, I don't know if this will work. I don't know if the size is not going to be any good. That's a bit of a rough old circle, that one. Okay, might just trace around a couple. Let's do a couple more so we've got enough. Oops, my can move that I'm trying to trace around. This is difficult because it's not, it tapers in at the bottom, so trying to actually get an even circle around the base of this is proving to be a little bit challenging. Very messy. Okay, let's see. Regardless of whether I do puffs or buds, I still need the circles, I think, from memory. I should have pressed this. I can't stand working with creased fabric. This one's very wonky. This circle. Now, thinking. Yes, that's a bit screwed up. I was just trying to see if I could remember how to do it. Has to be well over 20 years since I've done these. In fact, I was taught by a lady who I believe is local. She came as a travelling tutor to the guild. Jenny Roth, and she specialises in quilting, and she taught me these techniques. I've been tempted to contact her actually to ask her if she still has a copy of the instructions that she gave us at the time. I used to take down all my own notes as well, and for some of my workshops that I've taught, that I've done, I've still got those notes, but I can't find the ones for this one. So let's do let's just use this, hey? Use the same bit. Where did I put that thread I had now? You're not going to believe it. There's the cotton I was looking for earlier right in front of me. Where did I put that bit of thread that I'd already cut? No. Lose it again. Dropping things left, right and centre. Let's just use what we've got here, eh? I've got bits of thread hanging everywhere. Now, I really should be using a same or similar colour to the blue fabric, but I'm not today. Mind you, I've got a whole pile of stranded cottons there, over there, that I could use. But again, I'm not going to. You've probably been getting a sneak peek at all my stuff piled up on the shelf underneath me. Okay, so I can never get a neat knot for these. I'm just doing a quilter's knot to get started. A template would be good for this to stitch around. Now I'm just folding over this edge. If you've done Suffolk puffs or yo-yos before, you'll know what I'm doing. Folding over and stitching as I go. Now, I used to try and do neatest little tiny stitches in these, but I quickly learned that you don't get much of an effect if you do tiny stitches. So I try to make them a bit bigger now. They're probably 1/4 inch, I guess. A little bit bigger maybe. No, they're about 1/4 inch, I suppose. Again, I don't know if this will work. I don't know if it will give me the effect that I'm thinking of in my head. But let's just see, hey? Carole King. It's not Joni Mitchell. It's a Carole King song. I think. Now, if that goes there, needs to go in there. Right, now let's gather that in, and I can never finish them off neatly. I don't know what I do wrong. I never get a nice end off. See that bit sticking up there? I don't want that sticking up there. What have I done? I think that hemmed bit has jumped out over the... That's going to bug me. So potentially we could go big flower, little flower. I don't know if I like that as a puff. And I've got to do some leaves. So looking at the green in here, I don't have many fabrics left. I've given a lot of them away. That's too blue. I don't like that. This one's too dark. I think this has got too much blue in it again. See, if this was a good colour, you could potentially use it inside out and not have the print exposed. You'd still see a bit of it, but not as much. It's a better colour, but I don't like all the detail on it for this purpose. I've got this vintage, that might actually work. How about that? That might work. So I'll use that, I think, to make some leaves. I need to do a bit more research because I can't remember how to do them. I think I've got an idea, but I thought before we go any further, I've got bits everywhere again, I might show you what I've got in mind for this book so far. And again, next time I come up here, this will probably change significantly again. So open her up, and I'm thinking, I don't know yet, I don't know if I like it, but I'm thinking I might put this vintage cotton in for a lining, maybe. If I do that though, I'd like to have a pocket along the bottom which will cover this, so maybe I will turn this around, have it upside down so we can actually see more of this. So for the pocket, I haven't decided yet, but something like, oh, I just spotted, oh no, that's not it. There's a piece in my cutter box, bits that have been salvaged and rescued and given to me that it's embroidered linen and it has these colours in it. So if there's a long enough piece, I could put that across there as the pocket. Then I've got, and again, I'm not 100% sure on this yet, but I thought maybe this piece of mohair. And I'm not sure what I think about the fringing yet on there. Then I've got a bit more of that I can bring back into it. So potentially I could even use, I bet it's not big enough or it's too big. I could use something like that for the pocket. I'm going to lose too much of that detail, I think. It won't fit in this direction unless I just go, I could potentially just set it there and have the pocket. That might work, I don't know. I don't know if I have to bring the pocket all the way across. Again, these are just things I'm making up in my head. So it can obviously change. Okay, let's pretend we've got this piece in. I could also use this vintage hanky that could be used potentially. I've got another piece. This is the only piece of this I've got. Not sure if this is a mum and son, but look how well it goes with that Tilda. How good's that? I've also got quite a few bits I've pulled for this one as well. Looking at that now, I'm not convinced that hanky is going to work yet. But we can do... I've got a napkin. So it's not quite wide enough, or I could have used that as a pocket in the lining. It's not wide enough. That could potentially work though. Put some wool in for the needles and pins. I've also got this hanky with the crinoline lady. That could go in. I'm going to have to watch this. It's going to get very chunky very quickly. Another piece of wool blanketing. We could put that in. I've also got... I'd like to get this piece in this one as a page. Look at that. I love that. I've also got... That could potentially go in as a page or a pocket. Piece of wool felt. Little sandwich tray cloth. Got all sorts of bits and bobs here. I don't think that one will work. I've also got this bit that I was going to set in somehow. Potentially that could be another pocket. Yeah, not sure yet. I've got another piece of cutter that I thought would go in, but that actually looks more bluey grey out here. So that's where I'm at with that one. Again, I'm not sure about the colours. I'm not sure if I should I bring more blue and pink in. Potentially blue, I guess. That's the back of that. It is too. was I about to look at? Goodness me, I'm losing my mind here. I think I've got more of this too. A little bit more of this hand-dyed wool from years ago. Hand-dyed doctor's flannel. Oh, maybe I've only got green left. It's in the bottom of a crate that's underneath a heap of other crates. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I want some blue in here instead of just all oranges. It's a bit chunky, isn't it? So for now, I might just stick to trying to do some flowers for this, I think, because I'm still so undecided. Oh, I also thought of this morning. All these bright ideas I'm having. This was a bit of offcut from this piece, and I thought I could use it to do a little needle book. So many ideas in my head. Do I do a trifold? Or do I just do... And then if I do one, do I just use this as a base and stitch onto it? I don't know. I can't decide. So that's where I'm at, guys. Still a lot of stuff out here I haven't shown you yet. But I've been droning on and on and on for ages. Oh, I just spotted a pile of other fabrics I wanted to put in this. So I've also got bear with me again. I've got to keep shuffling things around. So a bit of that could potentially work, but again, there's no blue or that pinky reddy colour. That could potentially work. I did want to put some of this in it. This Robin Pandolph. And then this is a piece of Laura Ashley, which would work in it. And then this beautiful vintage cotton as well. But I'm back to the drawing board because I can't decide what I want to put in this one. Here's another one I've started a while ago. This one didn't get very far. A piece of vintage, I think this is a Biella. Calpreta. This was from my grandma's stash. So I've started doing the running stitch up and down on this one. It's got the wadding in it, but it's huge, and I don't know why I had started such a huge piece. Was I going to do a trifold? Sorry, I'm just trying to fold this so we can see what's happening. There's a great big seam allowance on this one, but if I was to bring that in the sides of the wadding and then this was going to be a trifold one. It's still going to be huge. I don't know what I was thinking. See, that would be hemmed, and then that would be hemmed there. It's still a big unit, isn't it? I don't know what I was thinking with that. It must have been trifold, because if I just fold it in half, it's even bigger. That's how big it is as a half. So I've lost interest in that one at the moment. I don't know. I think I'm just going to keep that one set aside for now, because if I pick it up again now, I won't finish the others I'm working on. So this is all me today, forcing myself to have a break. I've been flat out for weeks again, and the only way I can force myself to step away from packing and sorting and washing and ironing is to come out here and do something. So that's what I'm doing. Of course, I've still got a pile more needle books I haven't even started yet. I'm still not sure about those blue ones. Let's end this off, shall we? I've still got to do some leaves yet. Quilter's not again. Let's do another one. It's spring here, and a lot of the flowers are blooming much more prolifically than they have in previous years. I just got a whiff. I don't know if it's the Morea here out the front, or the wisteria, or the jasmine up the road. Smells good though. There's something about these that frustrate me no end, these pups. See, I want to get this done. If I'm going to put these on here, I want to get this done before I stitch the lining in, so I'm not stitching these through the lining as well. Try and think of it. Try and think of the steps, so I'm not having any unnecessarily exposed stitches, which sometimes I don't think of it until later, and then I'll do it the most difficult way possible. Yep, it's not so round now. Now this is where I always bung it up. So if that was to go there, in theory that should just go through there. little bit better, but it's still not fabulous. It sits better, this one though. Okay, now I'll go down there. Is it sitting well? Just talking to myself again. I'm going to end this off now. And it came a bit loose, so I'll have to just fiddle that a bit, manipulate it a bit. And even though I tucked that knot underneath, stuck its head out. So that one's still not excellent either. I'm just trying to do a quilter's knot again. I've out of the way again because it's hurting me to lean over. Now, the other thing with me, I don't know if you're the same, I've got this thing in my head where whatever I'm working on has to be balanced visually, but that doesn't mean, I don't know how to explain it, what I'm thinking. That doesn't mean even numbers. I actually have to have odd numbers. Again, I don't know why. It's just something my brain does. Might be the rule of thirds, I don't know. I need to think of a couple of different flowers, I think. Not pansies though. I don't think I want pansies on the front. Trying to think which other. Oh well, we've got that one. I think it's too big though. Getting a bit wonky here. Bit close to the edge. Okay, what have we got here? See, that's all wonky again. Ah, come on. See, look, I did it again. I don't know what I'm doing to not get it to sit properly. I'm just trying to work these folds out on the outer edge a bit neater. See how that one's sort of folded under in there. I can't get that, I can never seem to get that last stitch to sit neatly. If I go this way instead, still not overly happy with it. Now, instead of ending it off on the seam like I did the first two, I'm just going to knot this one in the back, which I try not to do because if I want to make a feature out of the centre, You don't really want that hanging through to the other side, if that makes sense. Okay. I think that orange is too much. I need some leaves. Now I'm not sure how I'm going to do the leaves. I'm just cutting off, tearing off a bit of this green that I had. And I think I wanted the circle to be bigger than the beer can. Let's just see how it goes, hey? I'm also thinking whether I might put a bit of a layer of lace underneath where those flowers are as well to give it a bit more texture, but I need to find the right kind of lace. I don't want anything chunky. I think I want it to be, because it's not going to be, I don't want it as the feature, I suppose. Again, I'm thinking out loud here, guys. I don't want the lace to be chunky. I don't want it to be the feature underneath the flowers. Now, I don't know if these petals will work. These leaves, I mean. Let's see. There's a few different ways I can do these, but we'll try this one first. So I cut a circle, folded it in half, then I've folded the edges out to the centre. Now let's try this. I'm going to come up in here because I want to try and hide this knot a bit. Again, don't know if this will work. This fabric's a bit tightly woven, so it's a bit hard to get the needle through, which is why I'm not doing a run-in stitch. Into my thumb, that was a good job. That needle's not going to go back through there. Oops, I'm going to snap the needle. I'm pushing it against the table, trying to get it to go through. But no, it's not going to. Oh, it's nearly there, look. Let's see if I can get this last bit without stabbing myself. through. Nearly. I can't get the eye through. I want that up there, and I haven't got that bit yet. Okay, let's see if this will work. I'm just trying to get it closer to my eyesight. Again, not entirely sure what I'm doing. Stabbing myself for one thing. Crikey. I think my ambitions are larger than my ability at the moment. So I've just made a dirty big mess of that, so I'm just going to snip off. But potentially that could be a leaf. I think I need some bigger ones too. Let's have a look up here. If I can stand up without knocking this over. Oh, my knees, fair income. Okay, of course, that won't fit on there. It'll probably be too big. Let's cut another bit off. That was good cutting, wasn't it? Rip. This is bugging me not being pressed. Okay. This is much easier to trace around though. I've got a feeling it might be too big though. Excuse me for being off screen. It's getting very difficult to lean so far, so I'm just going to cut this out of your vision. Apologies. I don't think I have I? Found a lace to put around this needle book. Not that they need it, but I like it. I like to use the reclaimed crochet lace usually. Let's see how we go with this one. I think this is going to be too big. Okay, let's see how we go with this one. I can already tell it's going to be too big, I think. This must be incredibly boring for you guys to watch. It's a bit wonky, this one, isn't it? It's not in the center. Whoops. Getting bitten by mozzies. I'm just recovering from a whole heap of leech bites, and the treatment that I have been on has been really knocking me around. Yeah, that's going to be too big. Probably need something in between the two. I'm just finishing this off, guys. I can't get the needle through this fabric when I'm stretched out that far. I'm just trying to secure it, nothing fancy. Tell you what, this fabric, once you get a couple of layers happening, it's very difficult to get the needle through. I think I'm going to leave it at that because I haven't pulled it all the way back through all those folds again because it's just too difficult. So I'm going to try and tie off a knot. I'm not sure how, however I can at the moment because it's very stiff. Far out, get in there. Willow, please. Bloody mosquitoes are getting me on the face. Willow, that's enough, please. Shush, please stop yelling at the neighbours. Willow, enough, please. I need to remember some of the other flower techniques. Leaf, petal and flower. Leaf, goodness me, I'll get it right in a minute. These are the techniques I was shown years ago. I believe were traditional millinery techniques done with ribbons. So I've been looking up milliners. Just cutting out another circle, guys. There's another one. Maybe I should just trace it. There goes the can I was using. I've got any other circle sizes around here? Nothing that are smaller, but look, smaller than this one, but bigger than the... Oh, my plants are wilting. It must be hotter today than what I think it is. I don't feel hot, but the plants aren't very happy. Okay. Like, I don't know how far to go with this. If I do end up adding these flowers, do I put some beads on them or in the centres? Do I do some beading and really tease it up, or should I just leave it? I start these projects sometimes and my brain just goes down a rabbit hole of what can I do? Other times there's no thoughts coming in about it at all in regard to the project at hand anyway. Geez, it's a lovely day out here today. The sun's obviously shifted significantly since the middle of winter because it hasn't come up under the veranda yet today, and I don't think it will, which is good, which means the phone and I will not overheat like we were before. Would that be any easier? That's a different size again. I don't like mozzie bites on the face. I went out on a HR on Sunday, the first one I've been on in quite some time, and we had been warned that there were leeches around, but I never gave it another thought. I just got in and did my job. And then on the way back, I said to the DC / crew leader, I said, the back of the truck's full of blood. And they're like, are you alright? I'm like, yeah, as far as I know I am. There's blood everywhere though. So when we got back to the station, they're like, take your boots off, take your clothes off. Took my first boot off, and all these leeches fell out of it. Took my second boot off, all these leeches fell out of it. Took my trousers off, even more leeches fell out. And there's blood everywhere. I had to hose the whole engine bay out, hose me off. I still haven't cleaned it all out of my gear yet, but I ended up with, I think I counted 16 leech bites, and 2 of them were between my toes, would you believe, and one of them was on the bottom of my heel. So I'm assuming it's done that while I've been leaning over with the hose. It's gotten into my socks somehow. I've got them on my legs, on my thighs, on my belly, on the back of my shoulder blades, on my arm, and they've been driving me insane. They're so itchy, and yesterday I had these massive big welts the size of a golf ball. They're not as bad today. Antihistamines didn't seem to be working, oral antihistamines, so I ended up actually moistening them. Stingos wasn't working, and rubbing the antihistamines into the bite directly, and that seems to have settled them down. Not completely, but much better than they were, that's for sure. So I'm sorry I'm off camera again. I'm just cutting out some of these circles. I've pretty much got 3 different sizes now. My brain is thinking of other flowers I can attempt. I just wish I could remember the other ones that we did. I think of all of them, I've remembered the most difficult one. I think it's a little bit more challenging than it may have been with ribbon, using fabric, because of the amount of layers that I use. I mean, potentially I don't have to use this many layers, but I like all the edges folded in and nice and neat, and So it makes it a lot bulkier, and there's a lot more that the needle has to pass through as well. Geez, that one's wonky, wobbly wonky. They need a good press. So, you know what else I could do here? Geez, that's going to make it tough, isn't it? I just had an idea. Don't know if it'll work. I'm sure it's not an original idea either, but how about, what other colours have we got? We've got the blue. Pink. Just looking through my colours here, guys. Don't know if I like that. It's a bit out there, isn't it? Might work though. Is that purple better? I actually don't mind that bright one. The more I look at that, the more it's growing on me. This one. So what I might try again, don't know if this will work. Might be a bit too ambitious here. If I can cut one out roughly the same size. Oops, now I've dropped a leaf under the... We've got that many things here, all... I must be... I was going to say, just not able to touch it, but I got it. Okay, this one's a little bit neater. I'm just using this as a template now instead of tracing around that. Again, I don't know if this will work, but we can only try. Now, where was I going with this? What am I thinking? Well, can I get this to work, or am I... being a bit too... bit too ambitious, am I? Don't know. Let's see. I think I'm going to have trouble getting through these layers for starters. Of course that's broken. Needs some more thread. Considering I pretty well want this to sit flat, I don't know if this will work. And I'm not confident that this needle's going to pass through all this thread either, all this fabric. There's a lot of layers here to try and get through. See how that tail's wrapped itself around and locked itself in that other side? Thought I untangled it. Get out of there. This is going to be ridiculously bulky. Crikey. That's an effort now. Potentially it worked. It's very bulky here, but I'm just going to try and tie this off, guys, off screen. I just can't get it to stay in as tight as I would like it to be. It's so bulky though. Okay. Still trying to tie off. I'll be there in a minute. I'll be back shortly. Okay. So potentially there's a little flower bud. I think I need to do a full flower in that colour to sort of tie it all in a bit. Again, no idea how. I might just make a whole heap and audition them and play with them and see what we get. I can't remember how I've done this one. But I might finish here because I'm getting eaten alive by mozzies. We've been going for, according to that, 3 hours. Surely we haven't been on here for 3 hours. It's getting late. The mozzies are coming. I've got to go and feed Willow and clean up all this stuff. So I'm going to get going. Thank you all so very much for being here and joining us on this little adventure. And I'll see you all next time. Thank you so very much for joining me. I hope I haven't bored you too much and you may have learned something. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Hooray.